This is the Sixth Man Show, an Orlando Magic podcast, with your hosts, Kevin Tucker and Jonathan Osborne, covering all things Magic basketball. By fans, for fans. Go Magic!
What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Sixth Man Show. Today is February 12th, 2026. Jonathan Osborne here, as always, joined by my co-host, Kevin Tucker. He's here. His body's here. I don't know if Kevin is actually here. I don't know if there's... I'm sure there has been in basically 7 years now. But I'm struggling to remember a pod where we were less enthusiastic about sitting down and doing this. What's going on?
Dude, speak for yourself. I'm fired up, bro. Let's do this. No, just kidding. Yeah, it's tough. There's just so many layers to this for me. I think probably because I was just slightly naive. I let the little bit of hope from a 3-game win streak get to me. Just a little, not a lot, but just enough to the point where, as the final buzzer sounded tonight, I was like, "You freaking idiot! How could you believe this was turning around?" But whatever.
It was the final buzzer. It wasn't like the last minute and a half of that game when you realized it was over.
Of course, yeah. That essentially was the final buzzer when Cam Thomas hit that 3, which standing still, like. Gosh. Yeah, whatever. Anyway.
For me, it was the one before that.
Yeah, that too. All of the above. The Paolo, it starts with the Paolo missed dunk, and then the rest just fell apart. But anyway, so thrilled to be here, man. How are you?
Apathetic, man. We're at the All-Star break, and thank God, because I need a break from this team. I don't know if there's other people out there that feel that way. Maybe you are truly the definition of a masochist, and you're like, no, even though this has been one of the most frustrating and disappointing Magic seasons in recent history, I still want more Magic basketball, even though all we do is whether it's on a game-to-game basis or a week-to-week basis or an injury-to-injury basis, where we convince ourselves that this time it's going to be different with this team this season, and every team it is not. So I have not quite like apathy permanently this season, but like it kind of just comes and goes. I'm angry after this one just because like we saw what this team is capable of doing to this Milwaukee team Monday night, and I know we'll talk about that as well. And then just the way that Franz Wagner is back, it felt like Monday we were starting to get a little bit of that swagger back, a little bit of the joy back. And tonight just felt like the last 2 months. It didn't feel any different having Franz back. And this was our concern, you and I specifically, that just adding Franz Wagner back to the mix was not going to fix whatever is going on with this team. It's not the offense. It's not the defense. It is the heart or lack thereof. It is the lack of joy. It is the lack of fight, the lack of energy that we see on an almost nightly basis this season with this team. And there is no injury, in my opinion, that explains away what we have seen and what we're witnessing on an almost game-to-game basis.
Well, here's the thing. You said it. This is what we've been seeing for the last couple of months, and you're right. But there was something different tonight, though. The Magic shot the ball really freaking well from deep. Now, they shot too many, probably. But they shot the ball well from deep, and we have always said for the last however many years, when the Magic shoot well, the Magic win. And even though the Magic shot well, they still... this game should have been over after 3 quarters with how the Magic were shooting the basketball. Statistically, in not Magic history, the last 3 years, when the Magic shoot the ball really well, they tend to win and win big, especially against bad teams. And tonight just didn't happen. But it goes back to what you were saying with just the energy. And I don't want to cast such a wide net, because I do think like Jalen Suggs felt like, for the most part, he was the only one with a pulse for a lot of this game. Like, dude was still flying around like crazy for large portions of this game, but it felt like he was by himself sometimes. And like you said, Monday night, which we'll talk about that game in a little bit, but the first game against the Bucks, you started to see, at least I thought, started to see a return to some of that same like magic hustle, magic intensity. And it by the way, that came in a, I think, 19-point win. And for that not to carry over into Wednesday, I just don't really understand it. And it's a mystery, and it definitely disappoints me, I'd say.
Yeah, we've been trying to explain it away for 2 months now.
Yeah.
And it was, oh, well, Paolo just got back. He just needs some time. And then it's, okay, well, now we're without Franz, and now we're without Jalen. Oh, Mo Wagner's not quite back yet. Well, oh, look, here comes Mo Wagner. Mo Wagner's going to add some juice to this team. Oh, well, Franz is back. Well, now Franz is out again. Well, Jalen, he's back. He's going to add some juice to this team. Oh, look, Paolo's back. Is he back? He's not back. Oh, look, he's back. Okay, he's not back. And we're doing this song and dance with Paolo Banchero this season, and we're going to talk about that as well. But then it's, oh, well, Franz is almost back again. And that's going to reinvigorate this team, and this team is going to be the Orlando Magic. Oh, we didn't really make any moves at the trade deadline because we believe that this team just needs to get healthy. Well, this team is healthy for the first time in 400 and almost 60 days, and they've just got no juice. They've got no swagger. They don't have the same amount of fight and heart that we're accustomed to from these Orlando Magic teams the last several seasons. And it's like, this is not that team anymore. They do not deserve the benefit of the doubt for us to believe that they're just going to be able to like reach back into the back seat and become that team again. We have, what is it, 53 games now telling us otherwise. That is not a sample size. That is like unequivocal evidence that this is not the same team. And nobody can explain why. Nobody knows why. Nobody can figure out why. It just feels like this team is banging their head against the wall all season long, looking for answers, and nobody can find one. We'll talk specifically about tonight's game, but you shoot 47 threes. You made, I don't know how many, but they shot 43% from deep tonight. Like, that just has to be good enough.
Yeah.
And we can say, oh, maybe they shot too many. Maybe they didn't shoot enough. They were going in. 43%. I mean, you almost shoot 53s, though. This tells me that this team had no business or no interest whatsoever in getting to the rim tonight, getting into the paint, which isn't necessarily true because a lot of those threes came from getting paint touches and then finding open guys, and guys were knocking down shots tonight. I don't know what to say, Kevin. Like, I don't recognize this team. I haven't recognized this team all season long. And with the personnel that we have in place, you just have to defend. Everybody on the roster, you've got to find a way to do it. You've got to find a way to rebound the basketball and not get absolutely clobbered on the glass like they did tonight. And it's not like Milwaukee shot the ball like a million times better than we did. That resulted in all these like rebounds. Like, they were just the aggressors the entire game, setting the level of physicality, got to the free throw line more. We're rebounding the basketball. We're getting to the loose balls. We're getting to the rim. I'm just like, I'm completely at a loss. It feels like I'm just watching a team that I've never seen before, that I have no context of skill sets and like the hierarchy in terms of the offense and who should be doing what. We're seeing way too many possessions with Paolo Banchero just like standing in the corner watching the rest of this team play. And I'm not putting all the blame on Paolo Banchero, but we are not paying this dude $45 million, whatever it is, starting next year to be a role guy.
Yeah.
We're paying him to be the number one option with the ball in his hands, getting to the rim, getting buckets, knocking down tough shots.
Yep.
And I do think there is something to the beginning part of the season when he was out and the team was going on that run and you heard the voices from everywhere. Oh, look how good this team is playing without Paolo. Paolo needs to do X, Y, and Z when he comes back. To his credit, Paolo has done that since he's come back. Paolo has not been a ball hog. Paolo has not dribbled the air out of the basketball. He's not, necessarily forcing it. Sometimes he is, but like by and large, he is trying to fit in within the offense. It feels like to a certain degree, and that's just not what we need out of him. This team, you and I were talking about this during that stretch when he was out of, people look at the ball movement. Look how they're sharing the basketball. Look at this by committee, blah, blah, blah. And we were saying, yeah, that's all great and dandy, but this team is not going to be at its best without Paolo Banchero being at his best. And in this context, he is nowhere near his best. He has not been anywhere near his best this season. People have talked about it. He's not as explosive. He's not moving as well. I don't know if he's put on weight, over the offseason to try to alter his play style or, alter the shot diet. Maybe you wanted to be more post heavy this year. I don't know what it is, but he is not moving the same way. He is not as explosive. He does not have the lift that he's had in previous seasons. And that missed dunk was like case in point, a perfect snapshot of Paolo Banchero this season. And nobody has any idea why any of this is happening. Nobody can give us a real clear-cut answer of why this is happening. And because of that, this has been one of the most puzzling, frustrating, disappointing Magic seasons that I can ever remember.
Yeah.
I think the last time I was this disappointed in a season was like the 2011 season when all the Dwight Mayer stuff started to happen. Like you come off of 2009, 2010, franchise best, wins, all that kind of good stuff. And then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
And for what we expected to get out of this season, we are just falling so far short of that. And it is maddening.
Yeah. It's really, I would say it's hard to believe, but at this point, like I'm not surprised. Like this did not surprise me. Now, how this loss happened tonight surprised me. Yes, again, going back to the shooting, but also like these Bucks dudes, like these random Joe Schmoes going off like that. In some ways, it adds insult to injury. In some ways, you can say, oh, they just had career nights, but ultimately that can come down to defense too. Like, I don't know, that was infuriating, but yeah, the Paolo stuff is very, very interesting. He's not alone, by the way, as far as guys that didn't play well tonight. Like Wendell was not good tonight either. Franz, look, Franz's second game back. I'm not going to sit here and go too crazy, but he wasn't great either. Especially compared to Monday. He was really good Monday and then not so great tonight. I hate wasting a 31.8 of 11 from 3 Desmond Bane game. Like that bothers me too. Yeah, I don't know. This is the I decided after this one was done, Jonathan, and I looked at the standings. I'm officially waving goodbye to the hopes of the original goals of this season, which was home court in the first round. We're now 5 games back of the 4 seed with 29 games to go. I'm done. I like that. The ship had already basically sailed, but mathematically there was still a chance. And obviously there still is. But after tonight, I'm just like, that I can kiss that goodbye. At this point, I just want to make the playoffs. Like which is wild with given this team, but at this point, that's not even a guarantee.
Should be what this team is shooting for at this point.
Say again, sorry.
The 6th seed is what this team should be shooting for at this point.
Avoiding the play-in. Yeah, avoiding the play-in.
Which at this point looks like you'd have a rematch with the Boston Celtics.
Right. Yeah. Or
can't wait to do that again.
Either one. Yeah. Which would be Either of them would be crazy.
I want to do
Knicks,
something, and I'm not going to give you any context. I just want to see what your response is.
Great.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What do you think that's referring to?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea.
That is in reference to Wendell Carter Jr.'s 3-point percentages month by month since the start of the season. October, 53%. November, 42%. December, 32%. January, 27%. Going into this game was 16% in the month of February.
Yeesh. Yikes. And it got worse tonight, didn't it? Because he went 0 for 3.
Yeah.
So, nice. Okay.
It might be a 0 point something at this point.
Yikes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 0. Yeah, not great. Not great from Wendell. Yeah, but he's not alone.
No, I'm not.
No, I know.
I'm not blaming everything on Wendell.
I know.
He was something that was so steady and consistent to start the season, something that we could count on every single night, and he has just disappeared.
Right. But that's what I was going to say was like, I wish there was one thing we could point to and go, that's the reason this Magic team is just not the same. It's this. But unfortunately, there's just a laundry list of nothing. Nothing is what it was supposed to be. So, yeah. Woohoo, 29 games to go. All right, that's going to do it for this. I'm just kidding.
Really quick, this episode has been brought to you by Caleb Pete, Die Hard from ATL, Gotham Grails, Next Snappa, and Steven Budgeon. These are some of our Hall of Fame and Elite tier patrons. They went to patreon.com/the6man show. Pick the tier that works best for them. Each and every episode not possible without the support of our patrons. So if you like what we do here, whether it's the Six Fan Show, which there's a new episode of that up on our YouTube from the win over the Bucks on Monday, whether it's the watch parties, which we'll talk more about that in just a moment here, post-game live, podcast episodes, all that kind of stuff. If you like any of that, you want to help support, head on over to patreon.com/the6man show. And we do have another watch party coming up. This one is going to be Saturday, February 21st, when the Magic face off against the Phoenix Suns. Tip-off's at 5 o'clock. Party's going to jump off around 4:30, and we're going to be at the Castle Irish Pub, 2625 Edgewater Drive in College Park. So be sure to come out to that. And we've been getting asked about this recently, so we are very excited to announce this year's The Six Man Show Court of Dreams Group Night, where we get to play on the Kia Center floor where our Orlando Magic play. We get to play on that floor earlier in the day before the game, and then we'll all go to the game together. This time, it's going to be April 1st when the Magic take on the Atlanta Hawks. That game is going to be on ESPN, and the way that the season is going and the way that the standings are going, that game is most likely going to have playoff implications. So it's going to be a massive game. With your purchase, if you're one of the first 60 to buy a ticket, you'll get access to the Court of Dreams experience, where again, earlier in the day, right now I don't have an exact time on that, but it's usually around like 12 to 2, like somewhere in that window. Usually get to play like an hour and a half to 2 hours on the Kia Center floor. And then that evening, everybody will go to the game. In previous years, what we like to do is we like to have one section that we kind of block off for everybody so we can all sit together. But just due to the raise in demand for Magic tickets, due to the expectations, which, yes, have frustrated a lot of fans this year, we weren't able to get all the tickets in one section, all kind of spread out around the lower bowl. But we can all be at that game that night, bring the energy, which there wasn't a lot of energy in the crowd tonight against the Bucks. We'll talk about that. But we can affect the environment, affect the atmosphere for this nationally televised game for our Orlando Magic, which is going to be a very important game. So again, first 60 that purchase tickets to this game will get access to the Court of Dreams experience. We'll put the link in the YouTube description and in the show notes for the podcast episode. But if you want the link, it's GoFevo, which is GoFevo, gofevo.com/event/sixthman, SIXTHMAN. and then the number 22. So go fevo.com/event/6man22. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing all of you there. I got to start trying to get the cardio in shape now because last year it was pretty rough. But that's always a fun time, always a good time. So hope to see you all there.
Yeah, it's always fun to see and hear the stories that come out of the Court of Dreams experience. We often hear, especially people that are shooting for the first time, you would know this, like typically you might airball your first couple, getting used to the whole like depth perception in that room, in that environment is very different than, say, your local Y or your local playground or whatever. But yeah, always fun, always entertaining. For a lot of people, this is a bucket list thing. And like I don't know the exact prices off the top of my head, but like whatever you think it is, it's probably less than that. Like this is not an outrageously expensive thing to be able to go do when you consider the fact that you get 2 hours on an NBA court plus the ticket as well. It's a really, really cool opportunity. And I always like to just remind people, we make $0 off of this. This is literally just something that we do because it's an opportunity that is given to us to offer it to diehard Magic fans. And so if this is something that interests you, you've always wanted to play on the Kia Center court, absolutely take advantage of it.
Yeah. And like, if you've been to a Magic game recently, like what you're getting, like the price that we got on this, because it is like a group, sale, like usually you're paying this just for a lower bowl, like seat to the game. So you're getting the lower bowl seat to the game, a nationally televised game on ESPN, by the way. And you're getting this experience. So it is more than worth it and more than a fair price, at least, in our opinion. And we did give early access to this to our patrons because we like to give back to the people that financially support the show here and help make everything possible. So if you want, advance notices and things like that when we do things like this, being a part of the Patreon, being a part of the Discord is a great way to do that. But the next thing that we like to do is we like to also give back to the people that support the show by listening to the show. So for the next, like 2 or 3 days, we're not going to put this link out, on our social media and stuff like that. So usually when this goes to the show, when we announce this on the show, these tickets go pretty quickly. And then at the end, we put it out on social media so that, whoever, is there and sees that can kind of get whatever is left. So if you have the opportunity to go to this, definitely recommend that you do that. Okay, Kev, before we talk about these games, let's go ahead and get into the state of the Magic. So after tonight's loss, the Magic are now 28-25. They're 7th in the Eastern Conference, 12 games back of Detroit, 6.5 games back of Boston, 6 games back of New York, 5 games back of Cleveland, 3 games back of the 5th place Toronto Raptors, and they are a game and a half back of the Philadelphia 76ers, 1 game up on Miami, 3 games up on Charlotte, 3.5 games up on the Atlanta Hawks. So I know a couple of minutes ago, I at least just said like the goal should be the 6th seed. You're 3 games back of the 5 seed. Like that is still very possible. So, but yeah, home court advantage. I've unfortunately pretty much given up on that. Call me a fair weather fan. Call me whatever you want. That's just kind of how I'm feeling these days. So far through 53 games, shocker, NBA.com hasn't updated this. So coming into Wednesday night, the Magic were 22nd in the league in offensive rating, and they were 14th in the league in defensive rating. Over the last 15 games, the Magic are 26th in offensive rating, and they are 15th in defensive rating and 22nd in overall net rating. So again, not playing great basketball. Taking a look at the injury report, Jed Howard. Jed Howard is the only person right now on the Orlando Magic injury report with an ankle sprain. I'm sure he'll be back before we know it, but he's also, not getting rotation minutes currently. So he's on the injury report, but it's not really affecting the Magic's rotation right now. So again, Magic are, for the most part, healthy and whole and still playing like it's January 5th or whatever.
Yeah. Disappointing. The Jet Howard thing. I think it was you who said it. I think this team is just addicted to having somebody on the injury report. It's like, why not? Why not? You get everybody back, and it's like, psych. I don't know. It's weird. Just add it to the list of just weird things going on right now with this team. But yeah, frustrating. The Six Man Show is brought to you by the Posick Group, your home team on and off the court. The Posick Group are the real estate leaders in Central Florida. They're not just the real estate partners of us here at the Six Man Show. They are the official real estate partners for the Orlando Magic this season as well. Ken and his entire team are literally the best of the best. If you are looking to buy or sell a home in Central Florida, look no further than the Posick Group. You can visit their website, Posick.com. That's POZEK.com. And you'll quickly realize why they have more than 1,700 5-star reviews, and they are in the top 1% of sales in the United States. You can't argue with stats. Stats are facts, and the fact is that the Posick Group is the best in the business. Ken, his whole team, like I said, they are amazing to work with. They're great people, and they love the Orlando Magic and this Magic fan base. And so, if you're looking to buy or sell a home in Central Florida, reach out to the Posick Group. Again, Posick.com, POZEK.com. And when you talk to them, just let them know that the Six Man Show sent you.
This episode is also brought to you by Jam Hot Chicken. Jam Hot Chicken is proudly serving the city beautiful, bringing Jam's culture and hot chicken to the heart of Winter Park and now Winter Garden. Jam Hot Chicken is a Nashville and LA-inspired hot chicken shack locally owned and operated in Winter Park, Florida. And like I said, now in Winter Garden. In Winter Park, they're located at 400 West New England Avenue, Suite 13 in Hannibal Square. In Winter Garden, they're located in the Plant Street Market. Check them out at jamhotchickenfl.com to access their menu, order online, and find all things Jam Hot. You can also find them at Jam Hot Chicken on all social media. Also, they are now available on Uber Eats for delivery at the Winter Park and now at their Winter Garden location as well. So you don't want to leave the house, but you still want the delicious heat of Jam Hot Chicken. You can get it delivered straight to your door. To do that, download the Uber Eats app. When you order online through their website or when you get to check out in person, you can use code SIXTHMAN, SIXTH, SIXTHMAN at checkout for 10% off every single meal. So be sure to stop by Jam Hot Chicken. We love them because the chicken's great and they're diehard Magic fans as well. They love this fan community. So when you stop by, let them know that the guys over at the Six Man Show sent you. And now let's get back to the episode. Well, so Kev, Monday night, Magic were coming off of 2 straight wins. The big win over the Brooklyn Nets and then the last second win over the Utah Jazz yet again, obviously. Monday night, you're feeling pretty good. Like you're coming off of 2 straight wins. You're like, okay, we've got 2 games against this team who has really been struggling. When they've had their best player, they don't have their best player right now. This is an opportunity to get 2 more wins and go into the All-Star break on a 4-game win streak and really starting to close the gap on some of the teams that are above you. And the Magic come out pretty decent first quarter Monday night, 27 points to 22, up 5 at the end of 1. But then let Milwaukee outscore them 32-24. So they were down going into halftime. Score was 54-51. So they were down 3. But then the Magic had as dominant of a second half, or as maybe not as dominant as that first half against Philadelphia. But back in, what was that? Was that November? Yep. November, December, like somewhere in there. But one of their best halves of the season, they outscore the Bucks 36-20 in the third and 31-25 in that fourth. That third quarter was as good defensively as we've seen this team all year. And that's when it started to feel like we have Franz Wagner back. Guys are knocking down shots, right? Like the Magic couldn't make a shot in that first half, and then it just felt like they really couldn't miss in that second half. As a matter of fact, they shoot 10 of 21 from 3 in that second half, 47%, and they shoot 57.5% from the floor and 11 for 11 at the free throw line. Like, I don't know what the true shooting percentage is on that, but it's outrageous. The Magic in that second half as they outscored Milwaukee 67-45 in the second half, on their way to the 118-99 win. And all of a sudden it feels like, okay, 2 out of the last 3 games, yes, they haven't been great teams, but 2 out of the last 3 games, you've blown teams out. You're starting to feel like the Orlando Magic again. And I think that is what fed into our naivete going into Wednesday night. But just talk a little bit more about that performance Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, AB was outrageous again. He was so good. Desmond Bane was good. Jalen Suggs on this homestand, I know we just talked about him with tonight's game, but he like really impressed me over the course of this whole homestand. Just, again, the energy, but also, I mean, dude's got to be averaging at least 9 assists, if not maybe 10 after tonight. Did he hit 10 assists tonight? I think he did. Yeah, 10 assists tonight. So he's probably averaging 9, maybe even 10 assists over this homestand. So I love how his energy is back, like, you know, on both ends of the floor. Like, he was making good decisions. Turnovers weren't crazy. Love that. My favorite stretch of the game, well, I had 2. My favorite stretch of the game probably was the end of the third quarter, though, with the Wagner. And I think it was spilled over to the beginning of the fourth. The Wagner brothers out there together. That was really fun, and really honestly kind of helped. I don't want to say turn the game around, because it's not like the Magic were, you know, super behind or anything, although it was relatively close early in this game, but they really kind of put the separation between the two teams there in the third quarter. So that was really cool. They connected on a big 3 there in that third quarter, which was a really fun play. But anyway, yeah, those are some of the things that stood out to me. And this was just, it was a comfortable win, which is not something we've been able to say very much in the last, 3 months now, like we said, pretty much since that Philly game in November. But it was nice to, 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, just breathe a sigh of relief and go, okay, we're going to win this game and we can move on and focus on Wednesday. And unfortunately, I thought the Magic would have a good chance to do that again on Wednesday night, given who the Bucks have or don't have available. But unfortunately, that was just way too short-lived of a feeling Monday night.
Yeah, and we've talked about this a lot of how big of a problem the bench unit has been. This, even though it was a good win, I said like after the post game, like the bench unit just still needs to be better. And people were like, "Oh, the bench had 40 points or whatever it was." It was like, yeah, 28 of those were Franz and Mo Wagner. Yeah, Franz, who is not one of your bench guys,
right? And
Mo, everybody else. Tristan 1 for 5, Jace 2 for 6. Noah was 2 for 4. Like, he was fine, but 2 assists, 2 turnovers. J.I., Javon Carter, Jed Howard, all 0 for whatever, right? Desmond Bane 8 of 11. Paolo 3 of 10. Really struggled in this one. Wendell 2 of 8. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and continue to expound upon Wendell Carter Jr., but you and I had differing opinions on Wendell, in the offseason. I was like, I'm ready to upgrade that position if possible. And you're like, he's going to have a bounce back year. For the first 3 months of the season, he made you look really, really right. Now he's kind of regressing back to, okay, this is what the problem is. This is the issue. He has too many stretches like this. And he's been healthy all season long.
Right.
But he's just still leaving a lot to be desired from that position. Anthony Black was 8 of 13. Jalen Suggs was 3 of 7, but had 10 assists and 5 steals.
Yeah,
you're just not getting anything from your bench unit, and that continues to be the case. So even though this is what is this, a 19-point win, you still came away from it like this could still be quite a bit better. But it was a great game. I mean, outside of really Kevin Porter Jr., who had 28 points, the Magic did a fantastic job defensively in this game, like we mentioned, especially that second half. But again, you win this game comfortably. You've won 3 games in a row. Like, okay, well, we have a chance to do this again to this team Wednesday night. And then all of a sudden, now like 3 out of your last 4 you feel really good about. You're heading into the All-Star break. We have positive momentum.
Yep.
And then this team came out and they looked like the Orlando Magic that, we've been watching struggle for the better part of the last 2 months. And like this game, just go to the first quarter, 24-20, you're up 4. Then you get outscored 32-27. So you're down 1 going into the half. And then you give up a 36-point third quarter to Milwaukee. But like we've talked about, the Magic were shooting the ball so well, they were able to stay in it. Desmond Bane, by the way, what was it? 5 of 6 from deep in that first quarter alone.
Yeah.
And he started the game like 6 of 7 or 7 from 8 for deep. Like from deep, it felt like he was going to drop 50. It was 20 or 23 points in the first half, and then like didn't score at all until a couple minutes to go left in the third, and then had a pretty decent fourth quarter. But like the defense started to unravel a little bit in that second, came fully unglued in that third quarter, and then when they needed stops in the fourth, couldn't get stops, and you end up losing this one by 8. Again, in a game, you shoot 47 threes, you make 20 of them. You shoot 42.6% from deep, you shoot 42.7% from the floor. The Magic had 82 attempts in this game. Only 35 of those 82 attempts were twos. You get to the line 21 times, you make 18 of them. Most nights were good with that, but you put Milwaukee, without Giannis, by the way, you put Milwaukee to the line 24 times, they make all 24 of them. There was one that they missed that happened to be a lane violation, which didn't end up counting. But still, credit to them the way that they shot. They shoot 14 of 36 from deep, and they shoot 39 of 81. They shoot 48% from the floor in this one. The Magic only commit 9 turnovers. They force Milwaukee into 15, but they're out-rebounded 47-30 in this one. The Magic do a great job sharing the basketball. 35 made field goals, 31 assists. Milwaukee had 39 made field goals with only 22 assists.
Yeah.
You did a great job sharing the basketball. The Magic just didn't show up where it mattered. Didn't defend, especially in that second half. Got killed on the glass. Weren't able to defend without fouling. My frustration in this one comes from the Magic don't defend on a nightly basis. What's the excuse? Oh, well, shots weren't going down and we allowed it to affect our defense. Even when you're having arguably your best shooting performance of the entire season, you still can't be bothered to defend and to rebound. Everybody's healthy, and this team still looks like they have no life. It just doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
Yeah.
Incredibly frustrating. Incredibly frustrating loss. We can throw this into the egg carton because it feels like we have a dozen or so of these games now this season where you had no excuse to lose the game. You should go out and win the game, and you just come out flat. It felt like, especially in that third, like Milwaukee was going on, a little bit of a run, but the Magic were matching shots. They were just kind of trading baskets, and it felt like we can play one good quarter of basketball and win this game. And unfortunately, they let Cam Thomas and Ousmane Dieng get a little bit too hot. You mentioned it like very vaguely at the beginning of the pod of like these random guys just coming out and going crazy. Cam Thomas has this reputation of like being this flamethrower, right? The dude is shooting 41% from the floor for the season. I understand he's a bucket. He has a bag, but the dude is just not efficient. He is not a winning, impactful basketball player. That's why Brooklyn waived him. But he's shooting 41% from the floor this year. Ousmane Dieng is shooting 39% from the floor this year. Those guys combined for 18 of 30 and 9 of 14 from deep. Just like inefficient guys, just everything they throw up was going in tonight.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
That's one of those where it's like, it's a chicken egg thing. It's like, did they go off and you just got to live with it, or did they go off because you let them go off, right? Like it's tough. Like I wouldn't sit here and say that I thought the Magic's defense on those guys was particularly horrible to the tune of those numbers, but at the same time, at some point, it is your fault. If it happens so often, so frequently, at some point it has to be your defense has to be looked at least, or even, you know, the offensive rebounds that the Magic gave up that led to second chance points. I don't know. It's
in the first half, Jang was just walking into wide open threes.
Yes,
I think he made 3 or 4 in the first half, and then like a guy has it going. This has been a problem with the Magic all year. Teams that you should beat, you don't take them seriously at the beginning of the game. You let them believe they can win the game. Then you get into the third, fourth quarter, and all of a sudden you're in a dogfight. And the Magic have been losing a lot of these.
Yeah, it's and I think there's also a level of I don't want to say they already feel defeated, but I would guess as a player, when it gets to the fourth quarter and we're in this situation that we've been in many times this season, it's very much the GTA meme, you know, here we go again, you know, that thing.
Yep.
I would imagine that can weigh down on the players and get into the psyche and go, well, we've seen this movie before. Because, I mean, you said Magic just needed one good quarter. I would argue the Magic just needed like a 4-minute stretch. They just need to play. They just need to play well for like 4 straight minutes. Get a bunch of consecutive stops. Knock down a few buckets. This game is over. And the Magic just really, really couldn't do that in the second half at all. I mean, the fact that the Magic got outscored in both the third and the fourth quarter to that Milwaukee team is it's wild and it's completely unacceptable. Like, when you look on paper at this team versus their team, it should not happen. Like, you should not get outscored the entire second half at home against that Bucks team. It's very, very disappointing. But again, I go back to what I was saying earlier. A lot of Twitter is like, and Magic fans are they're just up in arms about tonight. And I understand it. I don't have a problem with that. But for me, I'm just not bothered because this what we saw, like you said, this is not a sample size anymore. This is just what this team is right now. For whatever reason, whatever has caused this funk, this cloud over this team, this is who this team is. And so by the time this thing was over, you know, with the Cam Thomas standstill 3 at the end, it's just like, of course that goes in. Of course, this team couldn't go on a run to put this game away. Of course. This is who we are. This is what we do. And I'm just not surprised and therefore not bothered because we've been dealing with this for 3 months now. And so I refuse to let it bother me, but so much. It does bother me, obviously. But it's not, I'm just not sitting here going,
when you're at a baseline and your like expectations are now so low going into every single game, your like range of emotions is way different now.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like had this been like game 82 of the season, the Magic are fighting for, you know, first or second place in the East and came out and looked like this, I would be completely irate. But, and honestly, you can tell I'm still fired up about this just because, like, I don't understand how a team who is so capable, we know they're capable, we know they're talented, they're just refusing to do the things that they need to do. And I just will not be convinced that this is because of injuries. This does not look like a team that, they're just missing this piece of their roster. They are not playing with intention and energy and focus or any of that. But yeah, I'd be a lot more upset if this, which is saying a lot, if this was not what we have grown accustomed to the last several months watching this team. So I understand exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. But again, like I said at the top, I'd be lying if I said the 3-game win streak, you know, the idea of a 3-game win streak with this game tonight, with the All-Star break, you could go, okay, get a 4-game win streak, get some time to rest in the All-Star break, and then let's have a go at it in the last 29 games. I had those thoughts, I had those feelings, but quickly disappeared as this game went on. And the hope is very, very, very dim for me for the rest of the season. Like it's gonna take a seismic shift right away. Like on that West Coast trip.
How many times are we gonna do this, Kevin?
No, that's what I'm saying. That I'm out unless that happens, which I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to.
This feels like, and I totally get what you're saying, and I agree. But this feels like the fourth time we've had this similar conversation.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It has to happen right now. We have to. This is why it could happen. This is why it might happen. It needs to happen right now.
Yeah.
And I have been beaten down. I have been battered. I don't have it in me. I have lost my belief in this team for this season. This feels like it will ultimately go down as a wasted season.
It does. It definitely feels that way. And you can sit here and say there's 29 games left in the season, which is what, a little over a third, right? Like there's still mathematically, there's still time to salvage it, but there's just no signs of life. There's no indication that it's going to happen. Like it's one thing if we had little glimmers of hope. It's like if we can just tap into that, that's going to be the thing that. But there's not anything. Like there's just nothing that makes me go, okay, there's a chance. And that's the part that's like the most frustrating, but also just sad. Like it's just sad at this point that there's just. It's February 11th and this feels hopeless. That's just not a good feeling.
And, Jalen's been back for a couple of weeks, and we kept saying, like, Jalen might be the saving grace. And Jalen has made things better. Yep. Jalen, not by any fault of Jalen, because, he is obviously doing what he normally does, but it's not having, like, this infectious effect on the rest of the team. And that was like the saving grace. Like Jalen's going to come back. There's no way that you don't play hard playing next to Jalen Suggs. Well, I got news for you. Mm. There are a few guys who, depending on the night, are or are not. And it's not the same few guys. Like it's a different few guys every night. Like some nights it's Paolo and Dez that are bringing it. Sometimes it's Anthony Black. It really hasn't been Wendell Carter Jr. for a while. Sometimes it's Noah Penda and Jonathan Isaac. Like every night it's been different guys. But the last few weeks, nothing of that leading up to the deadline said to me of like, oh, this team just needs another guy who's a little bit better at creating in Franz Wagner. This team just needs a guy who's a little bit more versatile, a little bit more solid defensively. Just this one guy in Franz Wagner and bringing him back and putting him into the starting lineup over Anthony Black. I just never had that level of confidence going into the trade deadline that, yes, all we need is Franz Wagner. There was just so obviously more missing from this team, and it's even more frustrating today that nothing was done at the trade deadline. And it is hard for me to believe that there was not an avenue to make this team better at the trade deadline. Last year, we said the same thing, and it does feel like there was an element of luck into getting Desmond Bane in the offseason. Because, Kevin, what does this team look like if they don't land a Desmond Bane in the offseason? What if the answer was an Anthony Simons or a Malik Monk? This team is even worse off than they are right now. If you don't hit the absolute grand slam and you hit a single or a double in the offseason instead.
For me, it's been sad, but also a little bit, I don't want to say rewarding, but to look around the league and, like you mentioned, some of the guys that were offloaded. Vindicated is a great word. Like the value or lack thereof for all of those guys, all of them, is just, number one, saying, okay, we were right to move on from them. But number two, we shouldn't have held on to them for that long. They not just held on, but like they should not have had key rotational roles in this team for that long, because now they can't see the court anywhere for any team in this league right now, which is pretty wild. KCP notwithstanding, like KCP is playing for Memphis, but
I mean, somebody has to.
Somebody has to, right? But I'm really looking at like Cole and Gary, like great guys. God bless them. That's awesome. They aren't cracking NBA rotations right now, which is, again, in some ways good. In some ways, it's like, man, we shouldn't have been holding on to them for that long, honestly. So I don't know. It's a mess.
Well, I do want to talk about Paolo. And you mentioned like Franz has only been back a couple of games, right? But like, just like we talked about Jalen Suggs, this is not a criticism necessarily of Franz or of Jalen, but like just bringing those guys back has not fixed like the core issue, like what is massively wrong with this team and has been the biggest problem all season long. And it's like, okay, Franz has been back, a couple of games. We looked pretty good Monday. We looked terrible tonight. How long of a leash, and I'm not saying are we going to give Franz, but how long of a leash are we going to say, oh, well, this team just isn't right because Franz has only been back X amount of games? Is it 5 games, 7 games, 10 games before we go, okay, might not necessarily be Franz's fault, but just adding Franz back to the mix is not fixing the main issue with this team? Because we've pointed the finger basically everywhere else at different points throughout the season.
Right.
Tyus Jones was blamed by... I don't think I ever tried to make Tyus Jones out to be like one of the biggest problems with the team, but he certainly was a problem with the team, him being in the rotation. But Tyus Jones has gotten flack this year. Wendell, obviously, people have switched their frustration from Tyus Jones to Wendell Carter Jr. now. But we've talked about Desmond, how at times this season he has struggled and been underwhelming. We've talked about Paolo Banchero. We've not so much Jalen. Like when Jalen first came back, the first couple of games, it was a little bit rough, but he's been really good. We've talked about being frustrated with Tristan and how good he was to start the season and how he's kind of dropped off of a cliff. Anthony Black, as good as he's been, he's also had games where he has just gone completely MIA and the defense has slipped. So we've basically talked about every guy throughout this season, and I'm just curious as like, what point is it like it's just obvious that it's a team-wide problem? Instead of saying like it's Paolo Banchero's fault or it's that guy's fault. All season long, people have been saying, not everybody, but a lot of people have been saying it's Franz Wagner. Franz Wagner is the most important player on the team. He's the most impactful player on the team. We just need to get him back and so on and so forth. At what point, after we've re-added him to the mix, where this is still a problem, where we can finally sit back and say, like, whose fault is this? And how long is that going to take? All of that being said, like, Paolo Banchero has not stepped up and drag this team along like we have needed him to. We might get to the point where we can say the same thing about Franz Wagner, but he has not been back long enough to be able to say that yet with any level of certainty. He definitely did not do it tonight.
Yeah.
All of that being said, Paolo Banchero, something is wrong. It has been all season. I still believe in him without a shadow of a doubt. Whatever has gone wrong this season, I do believe it can be made right over the summer, whether it was the way that he trained, the way that he worked on his body, whatever it is. If it's a mental thing, whatever it is, I truly believe he can be right back to the player that we were elated to give a max contract to this offseason. He has not been that this season. And it is a massive problem. The Magic cannot and will not be as good as they can be or anywhere even close to it if he is not at his best.
Yeah. And the number, I just know what's going to happen here. The number one thing everyone's going to point to is coaching. Okay. So let me talk about that really fast. Because understandably, rightfully so, when we sit here and say everything's wrong, then obviously it goes to the coach, but let's talk specifically about Paolo first when it comes to Paolo and the coaching staff, or specifically Coach Mosley or whatever. Let's say, hypothetically, let's say that some of the tiny microscopic rumblings out there about Paolo and Mosley not seeing eye to eye, I think was the quote. Let's say those are true. Does that affect Paolo so much to the point where he just straight up is unable to do some of the things that he has been so good at doing over the course of his career? Like, you can sit here and say, coach is not utilizing my skill set the way he should, okay, which may or may not be true. I think there's definitely an argument that can be made for that. You can sit here and say that, but that does not mean that you are incapable of going out and doing the things that you have done so well for your entire career up until this season. I mean, how many times have we seen things that were automatic for Paolo for the first 3 seasons that have just not been there this season? Whether it's the types of shots he's getting, whether it's the percentage of those shots, whether it's his ability to get to the rim, his ability to finish at the rim, his ability to be explosive, like all of those things. You can't blame 100% of those on your relationship with the coach or on how the coach is coaching you. That especially with the Magic, like there are tons of times where it's give Paolo the ball and go. It's straight up ISO ball. And that is your time, Paolo or whomever, your time to show what you have. And we just have not seen what we need to see from Paolo in those moments. Again, I'm not discounting or discrediting that there could very well be tension between them and justifiable tension, right? I'm not discounting that. But that doesn't explain everything. Like, Paolo should still be playing better. And if it's a psychological, mental thing, like he's so frustrated with the coach or coaching staff that it is affecting how he plays, that's on Paolo to me. That's more on Paolo than it is on the coaching staff. Like, if you can't put that aside and go out there and just get freaking buckets or whatever the team needs at the time, like in a clutch game or whatever, right? That's on him. And so I'm not saying that is true. I'm not saying that is what is happening. I'm saying if all of these hypotheticals are true, I can't still go back and just point at Coach Mosley and his staff for that. Now, the overarching stuff, the team-wide stuff, the fact that the whole team looks like a mess, I have absolutely no problem pointing fingers at the head coach. That's what happens in the NBA. Tale as old as time. We've talked about it many times on the show. I'm not going to go over it again. But just specifically speaking about Paolo, I just can't justify that it is 100% Mosley's fault.
Yeah. I put out a tweet sometime last week, like talking about like the coaching issues. And even if all of that is true, does that absolve the players of everything? Right. Talking about Paolo, talking about everybody on the roster. And there are people who, like, dead serious said yes. The lack of, if it's the rotations or it's the timeouts or if it's the offensive scheme or whatever the case may be, holding, certain guys accountable. Like, people are arguing that as bad as Tyus Jones was at the beginning of the year, like, he shouldn't have been continue to play and get minutes as bad as the defense was when you're preaching about defending and taking pride in guarding your man, etc., and putting this guy who calling him a traffic cone was generous. Whatever the case may be, you cannot just say everything is Jamal Mosley's fault.
Right.
And then there will be people who will comment either now or on a post later on or whatever the case may be, claiming that we do not criticize Jamal Mosley, which could not be further from the truth. But yet, you cannot blame not boxing out, not diving on the floor for loose balls, not being able to stay in front of your man, like not getting offensive rebound. You cannot blame all of that on Jamal Mosley. At some point, even if you want to say it's 95% Jamal Mosley, which I don't believe. I think it's somewhere between like 70 to 80%. I think what I think is that guys are just checked out. They don't believe in what this team is doing at this point. They have 53 games of evidence showing them that the offense still is not great. But the problem that I have with the players especially is that you all know darn well that if you went out there and left it all on the defensive end of the floor, you would still be a top 5 defensive team, and you'd be 4th or 5th in the East right now at worst. If you cannot watch these games, and I'm talking about every single game, I do not care about your opinion if you watch every third or every fourth Magic game. When we're talking about the real problems of this team, you have to give the people that watch every single game and think about this team nonstop. You have to give the people who are actually putting in the time to watch the game, give us the benefit of the doubt that we might know a little bit more than you. And I'm not talking about just because we have the podcast. I'm talking about people out in the community that are watching all of the games. You have to believe us that it's not all that dude's fault wearing the quarter zip.
Yep.
If these guys would just defend, rebound, do what they're supposed to do, they would be at worst the 4th or 5th team in the East right now.
And 100% agree. To add to that, like, I don't want to like pick and choose certain moments, but there are certain moments that stick out in my head. In addition to what you said, which I 100% agree with, you can look at the offense and also say the glaring thing in my mind tonight, did Jamal Mosley miss Paolo's dunk? No. Did Jamal Mosley... Was Wendell Carter Jr. not completely and utterly wide open in the corner?
Didn't want the ball, by the way.
Right. Passed it up first and got it back.
Was wide open. Passed it
wide
up.
Open. And wasn't close. Like, was that Jamal Mosley's fault that he got his center wide open in the corner, but his center missed it? Like, that is again, I'm picking and choosing, but again, those are just images burned in my brain from tonight. But how many times have we seen moments like that over the course of the season where everyone wants to blame the offense on the coach? And again, there is reason for that. That is not unfounded. Like, I completely understand and agree. But again, it can't all be his fault when there are guys that are wide open. There are guys that are missing easy looks. There are guys that are giving up, rebounds. And again, just go through the list. And that's not even touching on the defense and the effort that you talked about. It's wild that we're coming back to the whole coaching conversation again, but it's just a mess. Like, this whole thing is a mess. I think everyone is to blame. And that's, again, the frustrating part. I wish I could just point at one person and say, it's all your fault and you're the reason why we're here. But unfortunately, it feels like it's player 1 through 15 and coach 1 through 6 or however many freaking assistants we have these days. So I don't know. It's a real mess. And I still can't believe we're here after everything that we talked about and believed in back in September and October.
The Magic are, I believe, 18th in the league in finishing in the restricted area. So they're in the bottom half of the league in finishing in the restricted area. Let's go through this. They're bottom 4 in the league in finishing in the paint, non-restricted area. Let's see, mid-range shooting as well. They are like bottom 10 in the league, mid-range shooting, like even like good, decent looks. Like, you can say like mid-range shooting, whatever, like it's not, an efficient, shot because you take a few more steps back and you're getting a more valuable 3-point shot. But when you're towards the bottom of the league and finishing in the paint, that's not the coach's fault.
Right.
You're getting within 5-6 feet. You need to be finishing those looks.
Yep.
That's not Jamal Mosley's fault. It's not Jamal Mosley's fault that, Jalen Suggs has been a little bit slow in getting back in terms of like the main point of attack defender. He's getting back to that. Outside of Jalen Suggs, I'll say point of attack. It's not his fault that like everybody else is getting blown by like pretty regularly. Not Jamal Mosley's fault.
Nope.
It's not Jamal Mosley's fault that we're getting beat to loose balls. And I mean, maybe the positioning and the boxing out, maybe you can blame that on Jamal Mosley because it's been a problem all season long. At some point, it's like, bro, you got to drill. Like, you got to do some box out drills. I'm sure they have. So that's why I'm not going to put the blame on Jamal Mosley. Like, you've been playing basketball for 20-something years at this point. You know, ball goes up, you put your body on your man. Yep. Like, you get in between your man and the rim. It's this middle school stuff that you should know and you should be able to do without thinking. You shouldn't need a coach to tell you to box out. I put a lot of not blame on Jamal Mosley in terms of like, this is your fault, but I put a lot of the blame on the fact that these guys don't seem to be bought into him as the head coach anymore. And have they like completely given up? Like, has he completely, totally lost the locker room? No. But for whatever reason, I'm sure his messaging this season has been, we need to defend, we need to rebound. Just like it has the previous 4 seasons. And for whatever reason, it is not taking.
Yep.
Whether that is his fault, I put more of the blame on the players for not being able to be like, you know what, guys, it does suck that the offense is bad and it is super frustrating. But if we just all buy in on that end, we're going to win games. And at the end of the day, that's the point, to win games. Is the point to score 1 million points? Well, if your opponent scores 1,000,001, it doesn't matter. The point is to win the game, regardless of how you do it.
Play to win the game.
Play to win the game. Do what you need to do as a roster, given the guys that you have and the skill sets that you have. Put yourself in the best position to win the game. And the way that this roster, back in October, back in April of last year, the year before that, 2 weeks from now, whatever it is, the way that this team needs to do that is to defend. And for whatever reason, we have 15 guys that have decided they're just not going to do that. So if we're talking about the individuals that I blame, I put a lot more on the players. But situationally, I say from what I'm looking at, watching these games, the only thing that, or the thing that makes the most sense at least, is these guys don't believe in this guy.
Right.
And is that his fault? He has some shortcomings of, offensive and all that kind of stuff. And maybe the voice is getting a little stale, whatever. All of that can be true. But the thing that made this team successful is playing hard and defending. They did that under Jamal Mosley. They won 47 games 2 years ago. They won, how many games was it last year?
41.
41, not being fully healthy. And then all of a sudden we're like, you know what? We're not really getting a ton of open looks as a team, so we're just not going to defend anymore. That's what it feels like, at least.
Yeah. I want to see what... Okay, so we are on a 43-win pace right now at the All-Star break. We are on pace to win 43 games, which is wild. Wild, statistically wild, that we're on pace to be 2 games better than last year when we missed our key guys. Our key guys played 6 games together last year. Like, won 41 games. This team got better on paper, has been more healthy, though not healthy, I understand that, but more healthy with a better roster, and we're on pace to win 2 more games. Yikes.
There's going to be people that listen to this, and they're going to go, how could you blame the players? And again, totally absolve them of everything. It's like, at some point, these are grown men being paid more money than all of us will ever see in our lifetime. And they're just saying, you know what, we're just not going to defend. Like, at some point, you have to understand that these guys have individual agency over themselves, over their effort, and to a large degree, their own performance in these games. We also have to hold them accountable. we can all agree, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us agree that what probably needs to happen for the betterment of this team is for them to move on from Jamal Mosley at the end of this year, but still agree that these guys could have, should have salvaged this season 2 months ago by getting together and say, you know what? We can talk to the front office, suggest that we get a new coach at the end of the season, whatever it is that we want to do. But we're still here to win basketball games. And let's do what we got to do that. And they haven't done that.
Yep, that sounds about right to me. And this is the part in all the past episodes where I say, but 29 games left, can turn it around. And I have nothing to say to that effect tonight. So
I can tell you what, Jamal Mosley is not going to wake up tomorrow and be Eric Spoelstra. True. Or Greg Popovich, or whatever great coaches you want to name in this league. He's not going to wake up and be that tomorrow. But these guys can wake up tomorrow, first day of their All-Star break, when they're on the beach in Maui or Tulum or wherever the heck it is they're going to go. They can wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? The last 29 games, we're going to be the freaking Orlando Magic. And they can win 17 or 18 out of the last 29 games and salvage the season and win a playoff series. But those guys have to want to do that.
Right.
Maybe they do, maybe they don't. My feeling is they probably don't. Yeah. My feeling is we're going to look at this season, the third or fourth week in April, and we're going to go, man, this was a wasted season. Another first round loss.
Right.
Or maybe we'll be in the play-in. Maybe it'll be that second week in April and we'll go up. Lost a 7-8 game at home, and then we lost to the 10 seed. And now we're not even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Again, we can agree we need a change at head coach without absolving these guys of everything.
Yeah. It feels like to me, if this trend continues, that the team will play this way, they'll try to just walk into the postseason and then try to flip a switch, and all of a sudden play hard because it's the playoffs, play hard because all the lights are on you, and they're not going to be able to, it's not going to be there because that muscle hasn't been exercised in the last 4 months or whatever it'll be by the time the playoffs start. And so
there's a lot of guys on this team who have never played well in the playoffs that doesn't look like they're going to have superhero Paolo Banchero in the playoffs to do what he's done the last couple of years.
It's very true. We've had some real playoff stinkers across the board. But that we got a long way to go to even get to the playoffs. So one thing at a time, but man, at least Jace Richardson's in the dunk contest in a couple days. That'll be something.
I really hope he does well. I really, really, truly do.
Give us
Why
something.
is Jared McCain in the celebrity 3-point contest?
I don't know, man.
Why are we inviting 200 influencers to cover the All-Star weekend?
Oh, it's so cringe, man. It's so cringe.
What happened to the team I love? What happened to the game I love? What happened to the league I love?
Say it. It's bad.
Do you remember, really quickly, we're going to end on a really high note here. Do you remember the song 1985 by Bowling for Soup?
Springsteen, Madonna, way before. Yeah.
That song came out in 2004. So if that song came out today, it would be about the year 2007.
2007.
But just think about that. When you were a kid, 1985 felt like a million years ago. And now to kids these days who are the age that we were then, 2007 seems like a million years ago.
That's crazy. The NBA was better in 2007, by the way.
Everything was better in 2007, it feels like.
Yeah. Honestly, the Magic, they were bad, but they might be better than this team. I don't know. I'm just kidding. They were really bad that year.
Yeah.
Let's see. 2007 was the first. No. Yeah, that's right. That was the first year the Magic made the playoffs with Dwight Howard. That's the year we got swept by the Pistons in the first round. because 2008 was the Raptors in the first round. 2009 was the finals run, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, hey, that was a playoff team. I will never forget. I went to game 3. That was my first playoff game. So, yeah, 2007 was a good time. Better than this right now, at least.
Yes,
we had hope back then. So
40 and 42. This team isn't going to win too many more games than that.
Exactly, yeah. But that was a bad sweep. Like, bad. Like, they were also...
100 to 92, 98 to 90, 93 to 77, 97 to 93.
Yeah, not great. But, oh well. We had hope back then, at least. So...
That's like the worst part of all of it is that like
it is.
My hope has been completely, never mind. I was going to say something that was going to be funny, but not appropriate.
Should we just end this episode?
Completely robbed of, yeah. Okay, that's going to do it for this one. All-Star break's coming up. Thank goodness. For Kevin Tucker, this has been Jonathan Osborne. You all have been listening to The Sixth Man Show, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.
Thanks for listening to The Sixth Man Show. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes and Spotify to get new episodes downloaded directly to your phone. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to give us a 5-star rating and a review. It helps out the show a lot. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sixth Man Show. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Magic!